Hello, hello, hello. I am just getting my headset plugged in right now. Let me just switch this over here. Oh, there it is. Couldn't find myself there for a second. So I'm just plugging in my headset here. And there we go. So I have what you might be able to see here, an entirely new setup this week. And part of the new setup is having a second monitor here so that I can basically have this keyboard in my hand. And with this keyboard in my hand, when I'm typing, the camera won't shake anymore. So the thing is that by doing this, it's a very, very big system. This isn't like just a monitor. I don't know. I have to come up with something new. So, no technical glitches per se this week, but more an issue of like first timer of trying to figure out how to get this new system that I have working. But I'm assuming you can hear me very well. And so thumbs up from anybody that can hear me so I can see some. Yeah. And for anybody that is joining, I mean, nobody's watching right now, I can see, because I did start 20 minutes late due to my weekly tech issue. But in case anybody does come in, or for anybody that watches this in the future, I might even just edit this out. But there is a StreamYard link in Facebook, on my Facebook page and in YouTube. And if you follow that Facebook link, if you do actually follow that, you'll come into StreamYard. Everything's new. Like, I'm not used to talking to this. It's a new camera. It's a new setup. It's a different mic. It's this big lighting umbrella that's right here, and some new layout. So I kind of have to just get used to this. And because this is a live stream, what I'm planning on doing is after the stream is done and it's up at sorry, I have to actually adjust that. There we go. Everything's going to shake just for a little bit until it stays still, but we'll be okay. So, so this is live and little things happen and there's glitches and whatever. And I don't want for people to have to sit through all of this if they're coming and watching this after. I mean, people are pretty cool with things happening while you're live because you're in a conversation with them. But and I'm here with you, so there is some connection that happens when people are vulnerable. But the thing is that when people are watching a replay, this ends up being longer than they need. And people, when they watch a video that's pre-existing, they just want the content now. It's like, I have a question, I want an answer, and that's why I'm looking. So things are a little bit different when it's live because you're kind of on the journey together. But this is what we're talking about this week. It's called The Seed of You. I've been doing some clearing distortions and connecting to your core self. So, every week I have a list of possibilities of things that I want to talk about. And I don't pre-write the weeks well in advance. I feel it out every week. And like I can see in my banners list here, I have some options for like what is purpose and how to find yours and why that matter. What is resiliency? How do you build it? Why does it matter? What is depression? What causes depression? And if you understand the causes of depression, can you get rid of it? That's another topic. And what is confidence? How do you make it? Where does it come from? And is it actually possible to never have confidence, or is it something that everybody's is guaranteed to have? So these are just kind of like 1, 2, 3. There's like 4 topics I just spit out that are just sitting here for me to be ready to talk about it. You can just type in all the comments whenever I feel like I'm ready to present. Thing is, every week I'm working on my programs, even just like the tech, like this whole nice setup that I have here, which is the same office I'm in every other week. I just put some nicer stuff behind me and put some lights on, but it's still my office. And the thing is that while I'm working on my programs, while I'm working on myself, while I'm dealing with clients, there's always trends that appear, right? Like what is in the moment that week? What is something that either I'm dealing with or that other people are dealing with? And it gives me a frame of reference to give content in the live stream that I feel is most like people want the most. I mean, if you put it in that way. So sorry, I'm just noticing that there are things around that I wasn't expecting to be around, but I guess it's okay. So, so this whole topic, the seed of you, is something that I actually just came up with like 2 days ago. And it came up because I was interested in naming a, I wanted to name a, sorry, 1 second. Now I'm getting distracted because this is live. So I'm just going to turn off my name for a second. So when I look at what is the core, essentially the core reason to everybody's psychological or empowerment problem, like what is really the limiting belief that people are trying to overcome when they're trying to create a goal or achieve a goal. And obviously there's education about like just how to even do that at all. And the only limitation is a lack of education. But sometimes the limitation is a lack of trust in yourself and in others. I mean, it pretty much kind of comes down to like, why don't we jump off the diving board? Everyone else is jumping off. We're educated on how to jump off. We get what it is, and we can see that everyone's fine. But what stops us anyway is a lack of trust that it's going to go right for us, even though it's gone right literally for like every other person that jumped off that diving board, like thousands and thousands of people. We always somehow still feel like it's not going to go right for us. There's this lack of trust. And so like something like confidence, anxiety, these are all systems of trust, building and having trust within yourself, or faith, trust that it's just going to be okay when you don't know how to trust. So the thing is that so that's kind of like the root of why we don't take action and why we don't do, fun new things, whatever the case may be. But what's the root of that? Like, what's the root of that trust? What if you keep going back? What is really the core root of this? And it was a concept that was brought up I was doing some neuro-linguistic programming training, and they're called presuppositions and precepts and things like that. So to suppose something is to just basically guess. It's to, you're just making a guess. I suppose it's happening. And a presupposition is basically before I would work with somebody, I'm going to set out some framework for how I'm going to reference and talk about things. So it's a presupposition is like, I am creating what you are supposing is true before I can use that framework in order to then teach you moving forward. So today is very much like that. I'm just realizing I skipped topics there for a second. Bear with me. So the core is something that is a bit of a paradox, because in order to get to the beginning of something, I like things going left to right. I can never figure this out. Anyway, because this is my left hand, but when I look at the screen, it's on the right, and that bugs me because when I look at it, I want it to be on the left. Because English, I read left to right, so I kind of have to go by what it looks like instead of what I'm doing with my hands. So in order to get to an end goal, we have to presuppose some stuff, build some kind of trust. But being at a place of experience, having gone through it a couple of times, we can then presuppose forward from here. But when we refer back to what we were presupposing, it's kind of like we're not supposing anymore. Now it's kind of like fact. So there's a bit of a weird loop here where it's like, where's my left and right? Do I take action on something to build the trust, which will actually allow me to take actions? And so that way I'm not really supposing anything? Or do I presuppose? Do I pre-create the idea of what I'm about to do, so that just presupposing is enough to take the action, not a success? Where's my left and right? Every time we hit a success, we program into our brain with dopamine and oxytocin. Like there's this, I like that. That feels like success. But we're supposing that's going to work. And if we don't suppose enough that it will, we won't jump off the diving board. So what caused all of that? I want to go even further back. Well, how far back can you possibly go other than your point of birth? Well, the thing is, if you believe in reincarnation, then there is a birth before your birth. So then how far back do we have to go? So in my yoga training, I asked, there was a master meditator that was meditating for 40 years. We flew him in from India. It was part of our Canadian-based ashram, which was the Canadian location of an Indian-based ashram. So our teachings were literally their teachings that we were just teaching in Canada. And so we flew over one of the core teachers, one of the masters. And he spent some time with me because I was a meditation instructor at the time. And I said to him, look, I've gone back and back and back, processing as far as I can go. Like, I understand there's still more to do, and I understand there's still more for me to accept and more for me to remember in this life and more for me to uncover. But like, what happens? This is my question to him. What happens when you've gone back all the way? And he just laughs. Oh, ha, 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 ha. There are many lifetimes, he says. That's his direct answer, which means you're just going to start at the end of the last life and go back to the beginning of that, right? You're going to do it over and over again. So then and this is like 14 years ago or something. I did this training. And that really got me on this whole kind of like trend for the last 14 years of how far back can you go? Like, why am I even going that far back? Like, I mean, there's got to be some limit. Well, I spent the last, no exaggeration, like 13 or 14 years on that question. How far back can I go? Because if I find the cause of, did I do that right? No, we're on this side. If I find the cause of a pain, I can go back to that cause and rewire my experience so that it's no longer painful. Or I can look at my current state of pain and change my perspective of the past. Those are slightly different things. Going into the past is reliving at the age of, let's say, a trauma. Referring from the current is rewiring our reaction to that past. Okay? These are before and after causes and effects. So let's get into some of this content so that we can, let's see, I'm going to hide that, turn that on. Okay, so this is as far back as I went. Okay, welcome to my journey. Here's what happened. Lots of meditating. I mean, like, just, I'm not in the 100,000 hour range of meditating, but I'm in the thousands of hours at this point. Okay. And I just keep on going back. And I'm going to take you kind of on the ride of how to get to where the furthest point I know of anybody actually achieving. Okay. The furthest point I know anybody has actually gone. So before birth, before you're born, you are a vibration formed by cause and effect, which we'll get into that. Okay. I'm just going to go through the steps and I'm putting them on screen step by step in case you want to go back and watch the video and you can kind of see all of the points I'm speaking, but on the screen. It's a little bit easier to refer to these. Okay. Use my nifty new, look at this. I got this like touchpad on, so I can actually move. Watch this. I tap that, look at that, new bullet. It's pretty awesome. And now the screen isn't shaking. Anyway, trying to work this out to make this the best experience for you, really. So you are the result. Okay, so before birth, you were a vibration formed by cause and effect. Literally this. When I say vibration, I'm like talking like literally just a wave form. That's it. And the form that you were, the form of this wave, is a result of the cause and effect of everything that came before you. So at the point of birth, your waveform is more actually like harmonics. It looks like a set of waveforms that are harmonic and enharmonic or disharmonic, but it's the official word is enharmonic. So like non-harmonic. Okay. So some are like just kind of like out of phase and some are in phase. I have to remember that everything's this way. It's going to be hard for me to do this whole reverse thing. Okay. So some things are in phase, which means they kind of look like they're phasing. So the crossing at the right point, you see my fingers are touching. And some things are out of phase. So when this is on a dip, something is kind of erratically not following this. So what happens when I don't spend hours creating graphics and animations? I got to do everything with my fingers. I need little finger puppets. But like, which is easy enough for me to do if I don't look at the screen, which is reverse to what I'm doing. Try and look there. Okay. So this is a sine wave, up and down. It actually makes a tone, believe it or not. It sounds like, well, it depends on how fast. So if it goes like this, if this is the pure sine wave, it sounds like, and if you make it really big, okay, slow and wide is a low tone, and high and what's high is irrelevant, but small peaks and valleys is a high tone. Okay, so it doesn't matter how high and up and down you're going, it doesn't change the pitch. So this is and slow and long is looks like that. Okay, that's you. Okay, but a whole bunch of those playing at the same time, so it sounds like just like flying through radio stations. Okay, so so at the point of conception, you're a series of harmonic and enharmonic vibrations. And what caused all of that to be harmonic or enharmonic was some other form of vibration having an effect on you. We'll get into that a bit more detail. If you believe in past lives, then all of, I knew I was going to, I looked and looked and looked to see here, look what I can do. I can actually change spelling on the fly with this super fancy keyboard. If you believe in past lives, then all of your past follows you. But where did you start before your first lifetime? Saving, spelling, correction, boop, showing it with, it didn't, it says, there it is, your past. I just fixed that. Okay, if you believe in past lives, then all of your past follows you. It adds into who you are and what you are with every birth. And this is why my meditation teacher was like many, many lifetimes. So you got to keep on going back. Okay, but where was the first lifetime? If you believe that you came directly from a source creation point, some traditions call it the great creator, or the great mystery is another way of saying it, or whatever you call God, the original source point. Okay, just a point before the wave. And this is where you get particle and wave theory comes from. Then what happened directly before the point of your conception? So the point I'm trying to make here is if you have past lives, go back as far as you can to the very first conception before the very first life. But if you believe that this is your first life, then go to the point right before you were conceived by your parents. What happens before that? Because when whatever was happening with your parents everywhere, astrologically, in your parents, in the ancestry of your parents with the epigenetics, all of that is its own form of harmonics and enharmonics and distortions and such. So essentially, they're all immediately having an impact on whatever waveform you are. So even if you, let's say you came directly from source point, so you're a perfect sine wave, no harmonics or enharmonics, you're like one tone. Okay, so as soon as you enter into the field of someone else's vibrations, you're being affected by it. This is why you can, where you would see this in current life is you're in a great mood and you walk into a place where there's a funeral, but you don't know it's a funeral. You just walk in and there's a funeral happening around the corner, and you can feel it. It just doesn't match the vibration you're in, your state. Okay, so these are all vibrations. I should not have touched the screen. I touched the screen because I'm not used to using this thing yet. Okay, here we go. So everything has a vibration, therefore everything is moving. At the source point, the vibration is very pure. If something is truly still, it is imperceivable to our senses or to any form of metering devices. Because every type of device, a light wave needs light waves. That's why we call them waves, right? Electrical waves, radio waves. Why do we call them waves? This is a wave. That vibration, that source wave, that source vibration, we call them waves because they're moving, and everything moves like this. Some form of peak and valley over time space, okay? And so what if it's not moving? What if there's literally no movement whatsoever? We can't perceive that because we're in motion and it looks like nothing's happening. So we say there's nothing there. Nothing is happening right there. There's nothing. But there's nothing to speak of because there's no movement. There's no pattern. It just does one thing. So we say, what is that? We call that nothing. Nothing is happening. Hear the paradox? How can nothing, which is doing nothing and going nowhere, be happening? Why do we put time on something that has no time? It's timeless. It's not going anywhere. There's no point in time here because there's no time where this stillness is. Okay? So anything other than that point must be moving. That's a presupposition. Any vibration is influenced by a perceivable vibration. Okay, so stillness, nothing to perceive. Everything else is moving. But something that's moving here may be too small to be very perceivable by something over here. So even though it is causing an effect, it's kind of a chain of reaction. This is causing something in the field around it, which is causing pressure to something else that's there, which then causes pressure to the gap. And it kind of daisy chains over to this thing till it can be perceived. Or if this is big enough, then the effect is directly on this. It's a lot of information when I say it with my words, but when I just put points on the screen, it just makes it so much easier to follow. That stillness is the source field or infinite singularities, one thing, nothing. It cannot be experienced by, you cannot go into stillness and speak of stillness. You cannot enter a space of silence and then talk about it. Then you are not silent. Okay? So if you turn off all the lights and all the sounds and somebody says, what's happening? You're going to say, well, nothing, because even silence is actually perceivable, but nothing is not perceivable. So we can observe something that is still, but we cannot go into it and continue to observe it. Hopefully that's anchored. This is a very important point for everything else that we're going to say. So since basically everything other than stillness is movement, I'm gonna, after today, I'm gonna totally figure out what the hell is casting a shadow on my face. It's bugging the heck out of me. We're gonna tone something down over here. Tone that down, all right? Because that's a pretty massive shadow on my face from this thing, and it's bugging me. But anyway, moving on. Learn, live and learn, okay? So everything is a vibration, including thoughts. And every vibration is causing an influence over some other vibration. Even if they're just apart from each other, even if there's space, this vibration is affecting space, because the amount of vibration it takes squeezes and stretches the space around it. So the space is actually affecting the other vibrations. Thereby, even the space is now moving, becomes its own vibration. So, am I doing this right? Yeah. This cause has an effect of things shrinking away from it or pulling into it. This is the cause of that effect. Okay. Totally need more animations for this, but we're going to get to the exercise. This information is really to get to the exercise. This thing moving is a cause of this thing starting to move. Literally, I'm not moving this hand, but because I am moving this, my chair is moving. So this hand is actually reacting to the chair moving. This hand, that hand. Okay? So just because this is moving, this hand, my right hand, is causing my left hand to move. But so this hand is causing that a cause, is calling this hand a cause. My left hand is calling my right hand a cause. But my right hand is the effect. So depending on where you're standing, everything is a cause and effect at the same time. Every thought is either purely observational, which is objective. That is a camera. This is a keyboard. It appears gray to me. Okay? Objectively, observations should be the same by everyone observing it, but only if they can perceive the vibrations. Otherwise, even the observations will be different. Or they're interpretive, subjective, a personal opinion. It's a nice shade of gray. That's an expensive camera. Relative. Okay, and I made this point already. Everything that is a cause of something, this thing calls it the cause, but this is calling that the effect. Got it. Relative. All right, move on to the next point. You know, I watched YouTube videos that are teaching this kind of like detailed stuff. And it's just like, I get why they have to put all these little animations and they got to go up close to the camera and come back and they got to make all this stuff. Cause it's just like, this is boring watching, like, just got to be honest. Like, this is just a bunch of data on a screen, but I'm doing it because, as I said in the beginning, it's loading up the presuppositions, because when you understand cause and effect, everything's a cause and everything's an effect. The thing is, you can't tell somebody who's a victim that they were both the cause and the effect of that. That's where this is going to. And I got to be honest, when I just read these points, it's totally fine. If I just put these bullets up in like a PowerPoint slide and they're literally like listing on the screen, that makes way more sense than how I'm presenting this right now. So I'm calling myself out. It's just because this software currently I can type into it. But if I pre-typed all of this and had the bullets with some kind of diagram, this would be much more informational. But the point of this is that this is a live stream that we're supposed to be having a conversation about this. So I'm trying to just load some points here. And the basic points are, everything's a cause and effect. And you are both the cause and the effect, depending on your perspective. That's the simple point. And I think I'm making it Well, I'm not making it complicated. It's just the presentation style is making it complicated. So from this framework, understanding that we're moving, looking at something that's moving, and it's all objective or subjective. This is the key points about how we're observing. It's relative to where you're standing. But if you go back in your timeline and you discover the actual causes of all of your current vibrations, of all of your thoughts, of all of your actions, if you go back and realize that you are a sum total of all of the vibrations, all of the actions, all of the causes that came before this moment. Just that, if you accept that as a fact, that you did not just blip into this moment, that you are affected by everything that came before you, that gives you power. If we go back in our timeline to try and remember, why do I grind my teeth? Why do I grind my teeth every night? I don't know. It's just something I've done forever. Why would I know that? I don't have a direct memory of something happening bad. So if I don't have a memory of the original cause directly, like a memory, like, oh yeah, I'm really upset somebody says something at me and I didn't say what I really wanted to say, and I'm grinding my teeth because I'm like regretting it. That's a direct memory. But based on observing that I have grinding teeth, and if I observe or look at case studies of everyone else that grinds their teeth, there's only so many reasons why people grind their teeth. So even if I don't have a direct memory, I can look at all of the possibilities of other people and what they're going through, and I can just make some assumptions that applies to me, even if I don't truly know. But when we get back to the seed of ourselves, the core of ourselves, truth arises, clarity arises, and that's where we're headed right now. That's the point of this stream right now. So what if we can't remember or perceive our past? What if we can't even find somebody else, like in my example, that grinds their teeth, so I genuinely have no examples of even a story to even suppose apply to me? What if we just have no source of connection to a why? But we do understand that there is some kind of cause, and this is the effect. This is me grinding. And me grinding, which is the effect of another cause, a resentment, that grinding is now the cause of a back pain. This is both the effect and the cause. That I got down pat. But if I can't remember, and all of the possible scenarios of other people going through it, if they don't apply to me, if they don't feel, if I don't resonate with that, by the way, resonate is a vibration term. If I'm not harmonizing with that story, if it doesn't apply to me, it doesn't match my vibration, then I have to find a way to go back and find my truth. I really love it when I'm just speaking the points before they show up on the screen. I love it. This doesn't happen all the time. Sometimes I could be like, what was I saying next? But then I'm like getting to the flow and boom, there's a point. Within us is that seed vibration. It's from a possibly long time ago, if you believe in multiple reincarnations, or it's possibly right before you were born. But at some point you were the original point of creation, which started at the point of stillness. Okay? And from that point of stillness, movement emerged. And because we cannot stand in stillness, the original stillness, we can't explain why movement emerged. We have no reason. It's all just supposing and story and interpretation. Unless you become that spot, you cannot explain why stuff emerges from it, because you can't be in it. It's kind of like how there's a black hole that eats everything that you put into it. So you send a camera in to figure out what's inside the black hole. What'd you learn? Nothing. You learn don't throw expensive cameras into black holes. That's what you learn, because they ain't coming back out. So if you go into this point of stillness, singularity where everything compresses into literally one singular thing, information is not coming back out. It's like a camera coming out of a black hole. It just doesn't happen. You can go into that stillness, but you are not coming back out of it. Okay? So we can only meditate and observe stillness from a place of interpretation. Our interactions with other movements, whoa, even I'm like getting lost by what I'm saying. This is great stuff, but it's different when it's conversational versus like point form, but we're learning as we go. Our interactions with other movements that were present and perceivable at the time influenced us. Geez. All right. I know what I'm trying to say. Our interactions with movements that were present and perceivable at the time. Influenced us and created reactions. There you go. It's amazing. Let's eat grandma. Let's eat, grandma. Saved lives. Commas saved lives. The interactions with other movements. Okay, this is way too difficult way of saying, even though they're my own words. At the point that you became a human, everything that was happening at that moment had an impact on your vibration. This is why systems like astrology exist. Why am I a Virgo? Why is somebody else a Cancer? Why does that matter? How did that even get formed? It's because the vibration of every planet and every arrangement and every where you were, southern and northern hemisphere and what time of day, I mean, all these things have a vibrational field that impacts what we're experiencing and what we're going through. So we can create a system like attachment theory, epigenetics, and astrology by observing things that are outside of us, because it's very hard to observe something. I can't become a planet to explain why a planet's moving. I can only observe the effects of that. All right, now we're going to get into actual like practice. That was hard for even me to watch. Okay, we're going to one thing at a time. This week I was on lighting and beautiful layout. Next week I'm going to be on, oh man, I need to draw a diagram about this. Okay, we're getting there. But then again, this is not a typical kind of topic. Like usually it's more like conversational topic. This is more like science education. It needs diagrams. It needs little fun animations to keep you interested. Okay, what if we had a choice over how we are affected by those causes? What if you went back in time before your parents treated you badly, before they didn't thank you for all of the good things you did for them? What if you went back before that, understanding now that everything's a cause and everything's an effect, and your reaction to their cause is now your reaction, which is the effect of their cause, is now the cause of you having anxiety, the cause of you having depression, the cause of you having limiting beliefs, holding yourself back, treating yourself badly. We can always blame something as causing that, but it affected us, and now we're the cause of what we're doing to ourselves. This is the singular point of empowerment. And I am an empowerment coach. And so I've spent many years really trying to understand, where does personal power come from? And it comes from this, that we can shift between calling ourselves a victim or calling ourselves a creator. Did I create that situation, or did it happen upon me and I had no choice? What happens when we take full responsibility and accountability for the effects of our causes? What that means is, oh, you know what? Every night I think about how bad it was that my ex-wife treated me a certain way. I'm not referring to an actual ex-wife. I do have one, but I'm just saying ex-wife because I don't know. It's an example that I can use. Oh yeah. Okay, let's do it proper style. John tells me about how he has a drink every night because of his ex-wife and how badly she treated him. And John feels that his wife caused him to drink. Okay? And my goal is going to say, I agree. I understand what that's like. And I see why it feels like that really was a cause. Okay? But that cause, how she treated you, John, is now, it's affected you. It affected you. And then you chose for the effect to be the cause of you drinking. This is how the seed of every action matters. The seed of you is the seed of every action that you take. And that seed is the cause and the effect. What came first, chicken or the egg? An egg, by the way, is a seed. So it grows. An egg is a seed that grows a chicken. So the chicken makes a bad egg, it's going to make a bad chicken. Or if a chicken makes an egg that can't make a chicken, no chicken's coming from that. So the chicken is the cause of the egg being bad. Well, maybe not. Maybe the chicken makes a perfectly good egg, a perfectly good seed, and it goes to make a chicken that can't live because of poisons in the environment, because of other things that were present at that, just because of that alignment of when that chick was born, other things came into play. And so this is where we have to look at how we speak of causes and effects, because it's relative. And we have to be careful about how we're referring to things. When we are fully aware of what is causing us to react, which by the way is us, but also of the influences, all of the influences, fully aware of everything that's not going on and how we're reacting, all of the perceivable vibrations externally, and then all of the perceivable reactions internally. When we're fully aware of it, we can begin to have a choice. But I said already, what if we're not aware? I'm just grinding my teeth and I have no idea why. No memory, it's just something somewhere. That means I'm not aware. I mean, the information's still in me. The seed cause of that action, grinding teeth, is in me. So I can't go looking for it outside of me, which is what we tend to do. We look for opinions and ask for what are case studies and people with similar problems. But the actual seed of that, the seed cause is in you. And the only way to really get to the root is by stopping the action and going to a place of stillness so that we can experience that action coming back up again. If we passively observe our state when we move to peacefulness and stillness, where we stop all actions, then we're passively observing. But if we're looking at the action, if we're looking at the state that we're in, and we're trying to judge every little detail, that's actively interpreting. And everything that we're interpreting is limited by all of the knowledge that we can perceive. But when you go to a state of passively observing, then you can perceive much more data, more than you even have already in you, or in your mind at least. So if we're overactive, we're overactively reacting. So from that state of overactive reacting and projecting stories and interpretations, we only have options that are effects from external causes. So we're going to keep blaming stuff outside of us is what that means. By returning to stillness, you're going to find your center. From stillness, we are the closest being to a source creator, which has unlimited options. Because if you are moving, we tend to move in a pattern and we tend to repeat because things align. So as this is going, this is going to start to want to move in conjunction. But so our only option when we're repeating, looping, our options tend to be to repeat the looping. And it takes an outside force to come along and go, stop that pattern. That's just a pattern interrupt, by the way. That's not a smack. It's stop that pattern. Break out of that pattern. Make a movement that is not the same as the movement you were in. You then, from that point of stillness, have unlimited possibilities. But it's a very, very still place. It's a very still place. I just looked at my microphone and talked into it as if it was the camera. I just did that right now. I just did that. Stillness. I pointed right at that mic. There's no camera on my mic. You're there. Okay. Coming to the end and moving into practice. From your seed center self, from your core self, which is the original state of movement, before all of the other influences in your life caused you to be a certain way. From that seed self, when you're in that state, closest to the creator, closest to stillness, which means no judgment, no interpretation, no action, no choice, no desire, pure observation. Oh, my back's a little sore. No why, no what, just an observation. This chair has got some fur on it. From a place of that stillness, inspiration, we receive inspiration from within ourselves. When we can't figure out what we're supposed to be doing that day, go to stillness. Decide nothing. Inspiration will come. Clarity will come. When you have no idea how to solve the problem, go to stillness. Stop trying to create a response because it's from a limited place. Go to stillness. Inspiration will come. From the inspiration that you receive from stillness, you can create an action. But your action that you're creating, which will be a cause, will be in response to your own core alignment, your own seed aligned inspiration. Back to the seed of you, you can start to create based on your purity, your stillness, your natural way of being. And if you go back very, very, very far, like literally to the vibrational state of source, you are consistent, you are predictable, you are boring. You do one thing over and over again and you don't judge it. You don't care. It just feels good. It doesn't even feel bad or good. It's literally just a thing doing a thing because there's no friction. If I send you off into space and there's no friction, no light, nothing in front of you, no judgment, no fear, you're just going to keep on flying in the direction I send you unless something impacts you or you make a judgment. So we reverse engineer that. Stop trying to make a judgment. So let's do a little 5-minute practice, and then we'll open it up for questions or comments. So if anybody wants to, if any of the two of you want to type in something that you wish to create peacefulness on, something that you wish to solve as a problem that you're just like, I just don't know why. I don't know what to do. I'm totally stuck on this idea. I've been thinking and thinking about it, but nothing's coming to me. So that's fine. If you have a suggestion, I will work directly on your situation. Otherwise, I'm going to invent one. 5, 4, 3. Okay. So, I know that everybody has at some point been hurt by a judgment of someone else. Okay. Everybody has been at some age got impacted and hurt that somebody made a comment about their size, something they were wearing, something they were playing with. They said they liked something like a strawberry, and somebody said, I don't like strawberries. And that was enough to be impacted. Okay. Because we are mammalian, we're mammals, we have mammalian brains, and we are impacted by society interacting with us, and behavioral, science shows us that we just can't get away from it. So I just know for a fact that everybody at some point has been impacted by the statement of another, a projection, a judgment, something that is just opposite to what we're thinking. So I'd like for you to call upon a pain in you that, generally speaking, exists simply because somebody said something to you and it caused you discomfort, pain, hurt. You can have a direct memory or no memory of it whatsoever. It doesn't matter. But just call that up. Just speak out to it and speak into it. Speak into that space inside of you that has that hurt and say, I know you're there, even though you're hiding, even if you feel unsafe, I know you're there. And I'm calling out to you, calling into you. And I wish to stop the cycle of cause and effect around this. I wish now to return to peace. I do not need to understand. My need to understand has caused me to hold on to the hurt, to hold on to the pain. My need to explain, find out why and what, my need to understand has caused me to hold on to something I could have just let go. And I wish to attempt right now to just let it go. I understand that the hurt part of me does not know how to let it go. So I'm going to ask us all now to take a breath in and a longer breath out. I'm going to ask us all now to allow our bodies to relax and be still. And when I say us all, I mean the part inside of you, the part that is at the source of this pain, the part of you that's asking in the here and now, all of you, to just take a breath and breathe out longer than you breathed in. And move your body and relax however feels comfortable and natural from the perspective of relaxing, slower, smoother, to the point of non-movement. Just relax. You're still now in a place of non-movement, non-desire, non-judgment. It is silent. It is peace. There is no judgment of good. There is no judgment of bad. There is simply stillness. Allow your body to breathe naturally and just let it be. Allow your body to just rest in whatever position it's in peace. If there is pain or suffering in you, just choose to be still regardless. Observing that it exists. There is pain in me, but I am still. I am non-reactive. There is judgment somewhere in me, but I am still. I am non-reactive. I'm just here and now. In this place of stillness, non-judgment, non-reaction, I wish to stay in peace. And I wish to let go of all of the effects, all of the negative effects that I have had upon myself that I caused by judging the situation. And I release them into pure, singular stillness now. And it returns to peace. I'm aware that there's movement around me, but I am non-reactive. I am still, and I am centered. In this place of stillness, I become aware that I am observing and making no judgment. There is movement, but I am not reactive. I'm just aware. There might be tension or tightness in me. I'm not reactive. I'm just aware. And now I call upon my intuition. I call upon my seed self to bring to me guidance. I call upon my seed self to surface up within me inspiration. I am not reactive. I just observe. And I continue to breathe and relax, and observe what surfaces in me. If I see judgment, I just observe and say, I see judgment. I'm aware. If I feel pain, I say, I acknowledge there is pain. I don't react, I just observe. I breathe. Simply because my body automatically breathes. I just allow it. No judgment. My body relaxes and shakes off tension because that's what it knows to do. I'm just observing. I'm not choosing to cause that. I am simply choosing to allow my innate nature to guide my choices and my body from a place of purity, from a place of stillness, from a place of reconnecting to my seed self. And I allow myself to know the difference between a surfacing reaction, which I will just observe peacefully, the difference between that and an inspiration. My body will know when I feel to take action. My body will simply know from my innate seed self what feels aligned to my core truth, my core vibration, my original state. And I love it. I love the experience of being at peace and observing. I love knowing that my body tells me what action to take. My spirit and my mind tell me what action to take, innately aligned to what is in my best interest, because I am choosing peace, calm, alignment with my truest desires. And I allow that now. I'm grateful for this experience. I'm grateful for this practice, and I wish to do it regularly. I'm grateful for the outcome of this mindfulness, this peace and stillness. And I love doing it regularly. I love the effects that this has had on my body and mind right now. And I hold that with gratitude within me. And I love observing the positive effects this has on me. And I thank myself for being here. As I count from 1 to 5, I feel peaceful. 1, I feel present and grateful for the life I have. 2, I feel aligned and inspired. 3, I feel motivated. 4, I feel present, awake, and alert, and ready to be aware of my next action now. Very grateful for everybody that's joined me today. I give a lot of thanks for everyone's patience with the stream starting a little late due to my weekly technical difficulties. 1 week, they will be there. We will be there where this is just set up and running perfectly every time. And I'm very grateful for your growing with me as I'm presenting these live, because this is something I normally do in one-on-one sessions. Doing them live like this over the internet, it's not something I've actually ever done before. So although this is my 12th week of doing this, I'm not teaching the same topic every week. So teaching something in a live stream is very different from teaching it in a live situation. So I'm very grateful that you're with me on this journey of growth, and I do invite all feedback. I will find and put more time towards creating graphics or having other things to put onto the screen whenever I'm talking with more intricate, detailed, like analytical or logical content, like today's was. But we do try to always end with a nice experience like we had today. And I will edit this video and put in chapter markers so that people can jump to the practice right away or jump to key points. So any comments or any feedback before we end today? Very grateful for everyone. Okay, then. So off we go for another night. Thank you very much. And we will. Thank you very much for the comments. And okay, I guess we'll call it a close for tonight. And just be mindful of when a reaction comes up, how much of a difference does it make when you say, oh, I'm noticing I am reacting. Oh, I'm noticing that there is an original cause of that reaction that I don't have to choose now. Connect into the awareness that you are not a victim to your reaction. You actually are a creator as well. And you can choose now to create your reaction, whereas in the past you didn't. So take ownership of that creator self now. And I hope this serves you well. Have a great night. See you all again next week. Hey, all right. Thank you, thank you, thank you.